Thank you so very much for being back. And if you just joined us, you're still on to Enterprise Morning, reaching you from Enterprise Television. Let's get to our conversation for today. The Registrar of the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAMB, Professor Ishaq Oloyede, broke down in tears while addressing the media over the widespread failure and the technical glitches recorded in the 2025 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination (UTME). A recent technical review by the board revealed that a critical oversight in server updates compounded by human error led to the invalidation of results for 379,997 candidates across Lagos State and the 5 southeastern states. The board confirmed that affected candidates would be rescheduled for receipts. According to JAMB, the issue ranged from incomplete questions to computer-based test CBT system malfunctions. These lapses contributed to mass failure, with over 1.5 million out of nearly 1.9 million candidates scoring below 200. The developments have sparked outrage among students, parents, and education advocates. Tech educator Alex Onyia is reportedly mobilizing legal actions on behalf of thousands of affected students, demanding transparency, access to exam scripts, and reforms in the system. Education Minister Dr. Tunji Alausa defended the integrity of the process, saying the drastic drop in scores reflect a crackdown on exam malpractices and offers a more accurate picture of academic performance. The incident has renewed the national calls for systemic reforms in JAMB's technical and administrative operations. I still have with me Emeka Madunago and Innocent Aduluba. Thank you so very much, gentlemen, for being here. Let me start with you, Innocent Aduluba,
yes,
on this particular matter. This JAMB thing has been ongoing for a while now. We have been discussing about it. It's still a developing story. And interestingly, we have it today that the JAMB director, or chair, Oloyede, has of course admitted, and as a good leader that he has of course taken the blame for everything, which equally led him shed tears. But the question is, do you think those tears are good enough explanation to students who might have been going through lots of psychological trauma right now? Then secondly, do you think we should at least give Oloyede, some brief, knowing that he had admitted, unlike Nigerian leaders who never and would never admit to errors?
Oh, well, Harry, it's there is that book I read in school, 1 Week, 1 Trouble. The round character of Rabbi Wilson Tagbo. It's what we see. The episodes are not inspiring, not palatable. And reckon that we are discussing the destiny of children. People who are about to cross that threshold, It's beyond the registrar. It gets to the minister, Dr. Alausa. It's an organic thing. It's a systemic thing. Those who are going to retake these exams are those who thought they've gone past this. Yeah. I don't think, and even
because to prepare for exam is a whole lot. And when you go past it, you don't want to go back again.
There are lots of brilliant, very intelligent men and women who, because they are parents now, working now, it's not an excuse, don't even want to be doing exams again. Do you get my point? Mm-hmm. Brilliant people, it could even be your classmates, like, man, this, but the rigor of the preparation is not something you want to repeat as a ritual. You tie yourself to it, face it once and for all, and then get this kind of it's a recall now, For the first time in Nigeria, that's good accountability. Yeah. It will spare many people some blushes. Then again, Nigerians should embrace the opportunity of a second chance. I'm only praying that this should not cost anybody even 50 kobo. Don't say we are not paying, it's free. But to register into this hall, bring 1.5. Don't let it be impeccably immaculate. So somebody will know that we are not doing this and still parting with any of our a farthing, you know. Well, I think this should go beyond JAMB, beyond the registrar. We should start looking at what attention the federal government, the state government pays to education. Look, if you go on social media, you will find, let me use the word, if I'm not exaggerated, maybe 8, 7 years and below, you will find Japanese children, Korean children, Taiwanese children, you know, all those, I'm talking of the South East Asia, the people they call Asian tiger, yes. Thai children, yes. Singaporeans, you will see them, Vietnamese children, yes. All of them in class with tabs, you know. Even I've seen for Morocco, I'm not saying they are not here in Nigeria, but it will be one posh, exclusive nursery or private school. I'm saying there is public.
Public schools.
It's public. It's alarming that in this abundantly, immensely rich country, Nigeria, there are many poor people. People cannot marry that dialectic. It's appalling. So it's one thing, like I tell you, you just see headlines. And sometimes, I hope this one is real, sometimes Nigerians are lured with those fantastic headlines. And then we celebrate the headline. That thing never comes to pass. In fact, if you ask for it, you are termed a whaler. So Henry, it's welcoming. Let the man, if you ask me, and all the crew, keep their job. Let's see what this second chance will look like. How it will be better organized. And possibly a lesson for another fresh JAMB. But in a very populated country like Nigeria, we should not be afraid to change personnel.
Very, very true.
People come, people go.
Very, very true. Emeka Emadnago, are you still there with us? Hello, Mr. Emeka, are you there? Okay, I think we're still having a little bit of an issue here. But the question I would love to ask is, you know, as much as, because it's actually very right that you did say that we should. Okay, yes, are you there?
I'm here.
Okay, beautiful. Yes, we wanted
yes.
to, yes, I wanted to ask, Innocent had actually talked about the fact that the JAMB registrar, Oloyede, should maintain his job. But Nigerians are actually not on that same frequency. But the truth is, do you think it's okay for us to possibly throw away the baby with the bathwater?
Oloyede, the Minister of Education, Tunji Alausa, should be thrown out. It's immediate effect.
Really?
It's not about any baby with the bath. It's not about throwing any baby with the bath, because there's no baby in the bathwater. This thing was already orchestrated. He even admitted it now. He said it was sabotage, human error. He admitted it Oloyede. You see, is that this thing went on for 16 times. They said it was the 17th session that they dictated and corrected it. With all the, you know, there was a time Oloyede was carried away. Oh, yeah, he's making money for the federal government. And people killing him. Is JAMB a revenue agency or an examination regulatory body? You know, when you get carried away by things that have nothing to do with your responsibility, that is how you run into forced errors. What you have now, people are already even admitting, people are already in an ethnic agenda because FOI requests, freedom of information requests, have been sent to JAMB. Thus, which local governments in Lagos were affected. It's already even been said that it's local in Lagos, Amu-Odofin, Ojo, and what other local governments, where you have a lot of Southeasterners, that this was a great sabotage against Southeast. It's already, you know, it's already emerging, you know. Well, I don't believe, because I don't have facts to prove it, but when they bring out the FOI, when they respond to the request, then we will see what they have to say. I mean, how could such a thing have gone on? The future of youths, you are now drawing youths into your dirty games. Unacceptable. when this thing broke out, first of all, with the complaints about the odd hour, 6:30 a.m. when asked candidates to resume.
No,
the Labour Party presidential candidate, Mr. Peter Obi, came out. He came out and said that, you see, it was a wrong hour and all that. What did JAMB do? They started feeding and puffing. No, you are wrong. If you went on X, you would have seen how belligerent they were.
Emeka, but the 6:30 is not for the exam to start up. The 6:30 was for them to have the leeway to prepare. The exam was to start up by 8 a.m. So 6:30 was just for them to ensure that they have a leeway before the exam started.
6:30. No, go and look at that JAMB statement. Go and look at the JAMB statement. That 6:30 was for accreditation. They admitted it themselves to start an exam by 8 a.m. Where? How can you start an exam by 8 a.m.?
Even 8 a.m. is early.
I did myself. JAMB 9 a.m., 9 a.m., 10 a.m. How can you start an exam 8 a.m.? When my children did JAMB, that was the same thing they did. I had to take to a town about 50 kilometers away to get there by, to get to there by 8 a.m. And it rained heavily that morning. It was, you needed to have seen my clothes that day, my feet. Everywhere mud, everywhere was full of mud. You know? What about parents who didn't have cars? Eh? What about poor indigent parents who had to take their children long distances? Eh? Then, that wasn't enough. The Minister of Education, a nephrologist who doesn't know anything about education, he came out to say, it was a proof of, the maths failure was a proof of JAMB's anti-examination malpractice system. What? With that investigation, he already came out. He already knew the reason. Tunji Alausa knows what is good for you. Resign because it's a disgrace. When things like this happen, you shut your mouth and you hold on. Let them be investigated because they were still huffing and puffing. They were trying to bury it until news broke. Even as of yesterday, Mondam was still huffing and puffing. Even when he was talking about, holding a review meeting, you needed to look at the tone. See tone of their press statement. Very arrogant. And then eventually, news broke out of that Okwesusi in Ikorodu who committed suicide. That 16-year-old girl who committed suicide because she had a low. Then immediately, they had a meeting. That was when we now saw the fake tears. The useless of the JAMB registrar. He should have resigned. Who asked him to come and cry? Is it, are we talking about Nollywood or National Theatre? We're talking about the lives, the future, the destiny of young people. You are shedding tears. You are a disgrace. Let me tell him he's a disgrace to the nation. Because this thing could have been avoided. People were saying about this, these things should have been avoided. But what it shows is that there has been a systematic decay in examination, in the conduct of examination of those centralized examinations. And if you look at it over the years, over the last 18 years, performance has gone down from 63% to 22% as of here. But they didn't step. You're running a CBT country where you don't have regular power supply. CBT centers are don't even have standard ICT equipment. Then many of the pupils are not even attuned to ICT, to operating IT. And then other issues like that. You are not talking about the first session, the patch, and all of those things. Then the next thing, to show you that there is a sinister agenda, go on X and see what some people are trying. That the ICT department of JAMB is headed by one Mr. Fabian Okoro. And that they are saying the thing affected the East most. And that it was an Igbo man who did it. And meanwhile, the head of ICT is one Mrs. B. Usman. Go to JAMB website. Photograph is not there. It's only her name. Why? Who is hiding something? The photograph, the JAMB registrar is there. The photograph of some other JAMB officials are there. But that woman's photograph is not there. What are they trying to hide? So that tells you that, you see, what we are doing to ourselves in this country, honestly speaking, we continue. But let me tell you the truth. One day it will unravel. It's just a matter of time. It's a matter of time. It's a disgrace, to say the least. Because years ago, Oloyede was warned, don't leave your primary duty of conducting CBT for Nigerian candidates in UTME and, in ministry, in MD. Don't leave your primary duty to start chasing generation of revenue. JAMB was not set up to generate revenue. JAMB should actually be received government subvention so that its operations can notch. Even if you say margin of error, it should not be more than maybe 0.1%. But look at what happened. You are shedding tears. Let me tell you, if you are one of the candidates, would you for the exam? If I was one of the candidates, I'd rather learn a trade or go and learn a skill. What I mean? Children are already demoralized. Candidates are already demoralized, and you are shedding tears. No. Oloyede should come out with the truth. That sabotage he talked about, that human error he talked about, it should not be dismissed. The minimum is that some heads must roll. Those who were arrested for this must go to jail. That is the minimum. We will not let it go. People are already planning for court cases, different court cases. JAMB should get ready for court cases. We'll let this go. Because enough of all these things that we think, why are we doing this to ourselves? Why are we doing this to ourselves? You say the something, whatever, in the Lagos region affected the Southeast. Why should the Lagos region be joined to the Southeast? Why can't they be separated? Is it not a digital thing? We are digital natives ourselves. So why should there be a Lagos region covering? What if there's a disruption in network and all of that? Lagos region cannot actually monitor the Southeast. What will happen? I mean, you see, we just we just continually make ourselves a laughing stock in the Committee of Nations. And it's sad.
Yes.
I woke up this morning thinking about it, and I was shedding tears. I tell you the truth. I woke up from my bed, I thought about it, and tears were rolling down from my eyes.
Were your own tears? Were your own tears genuine? Were your own tears genuine?
Let me tell you the truth. My tears came from a place of pain. None of my children was affected, though. But you know what? No. When you are dealing with the lives of people, to take utmost care. Let me tell you, in China, some days ago, there was a scandal. Some people connived and adulterated baby milk, expired baby milk to Nigeria. All the people involved in that in China were executed. Do you know what in Nigeria? Nobody was even arrested or tried or prosecuted. So when you think about things like that, you just wonder, where are we heading to as a nation?
Very, very true.
As a country.
Very, very true.
It's sad.
It's very so sad. Innocent Aduruba. There used to be a time when the University College Ibadan, was actually created or set up as an outstation for the University of London. So students from the University of London come to the University College Ibadan to come and do their study more, learning from people there. And one would wonder, what happened to those era when universities were a lovely place? Of course, administrations to getting into those universities were awesome. People from India were coming to Nigeria, from Saudi Arabia, and all the places were coming to Nigeria. Of course, JAMB was not there, which means that the JAMB we have now, according to Emeka, is looking more like a funnel for making money. Do you think we should just scrap it and move
I've
on?
already said it that the JAMB should be scrapped. Those days you were talking about, the University College Ibadan does not need an external body to ratify who they admit. Every university has a board, has a senate, and they have the competency to carry out placement exams and admit their own students who would have met the prerequisites at the WAEC level. You know, JAMB should be scrapped. JAMB should be scrapped. JAMB should be scrapped. Emeka just told you now, an examination conducting body is praising itself for generating revenue. What revenue? Is that not like a helpless extortion? Because if you are going to write the JAMB and they tell you pay this, pay this, pay this, it's helpless. You have no other route than to pay.
But don't you think that's rather a show of transparency? Maybe we are seeing it from another perspective.
The primary duty of JAMB is not revenue generation.
But they shouldn't give out those exams for free. Of course, something something has to be paid. Okay,
there are government subventions.
Yes, there are government subventions, but they are not enough because those CBTC centers are rented. People own them. It's a business, right? Every student is paid for. Every student is paid for by JAMB. So what students pay is what they collect together to pay to CBT centers so they can run. So if someone does such and there's left over and decides not to pocket it and say, okay, government, this is what is remaining, don't you think that's a show of transparency and leadership accountability that we're talking about here?
Henry, I would like you to be straight. How much do you think is the escalade of the president? How much do they use to refurbish the home of the vice president? This country is poor. We bring out money and sponsor people to go to Israel, Jerusalem, Mecca. What is now too big for children of the country? What? Have you seen election campaigns? Do you see the cash that, what are they called? Delegates. Do you see what they receive in dollars? What is a CBT? And the reason we go to rent, or how do you say it, the CBT centers, is because of the government's incapacity, inefficiency. Such a place should exist owned by the government for such purposes. You want to compare that a CBT center? Look, it is constitutional in many states in this country. Here, when a governor finishes his tenure, whether 4 or 8 years, that governor, the state will build a house for that governor in that state and one in Abuja. Are you aware? We have not come down to the vice or deputy governor. You know, these are monies available that could go to where they can use to grow our future children, our future population. You know, there are okay. Somebody, Sheikh Husani, the Kaduna senator, has published what they get as remuneration, income, and allowances. If a country is serious about, it's like Emeka taking his child to the JAMB center. If we are serious, you will shed your spendings in all those, I don't know what to call it, and channel them where it will be productive, it will impact lives of people who are growing, crossing a threshold into their future destinies. Those business centers are there because of ineptitude from the government. That's why they are there. These are things. How have you seen a governor's entourage, a minister's entourage, a commissioner's entourage, local government chairman? During the food crisis, food protest last year August. What was the name of that protest, please?
End bad governance.
End bad governance. The LCDA, where I live, I will just not call their name. From all the hierarchy of the officers, brought table to the main road, not street, the main road at about 10, 11, with some of the costliest bottles of drink, and say this is their own end bad governance protest. As you are passing by, they are calling you, you can join them instead of going to the road to protest. And if you want to trace, these are government money. or large payments they benefited from the government that has now enabled them to carry out this lavish. Here there is money where a government prioritizes the life of each individual. We have family members who are visitors in their country. Henry, if I tell you how they treat them in hospitals, I'm ashamed that here that I'm an indigene. Let me try and take my wife to give birth. You will see list as if you are marrying a young lady from, I dare say, Imo State. Let me, Ibokwenu, with all apologies. You know. So the resources to cater for people in this country are there. They are there. Let us harness them the right way. And like I will tell you, if we are that poor, we run a bicameral legislature, scrap the Senate, let's stay with House of Rep. Or scrap the House of Rep, let's stay with the Senate. You will see where that budget will go. Again, we run a compensatory government where there is Minister of Labor, there is Minister of State for Labor, Minister of Education, Minister of State, Minister, all of this, if you put them, Harry, you will be hungry to write JAMB again. Yeah, Harry, and all those points I've made, that's what I mean. We cannot overemphasize it. There is money where the government is serious for children coming who are the future of our tomorrow. I think I'll drop it there.
Yes, very, very true. And it's very important that we maybe try to clear some facts here. About JAMB and what it stands for. JAMB generated revenue primarily through the sale of registration forms and other services like printing results, while the exact amount JAMB makes annually isn't publicly released. It is estimated that in 6 years, JAMB generated over 46 billion in form sales and had remitted just 2 billion naira in 2023. That's very true. Considering how much our parliamentarians take home collectively, considering how much that was allocated to the fixing of the vice president's house in Abuja and the president's house in Lagos and Abuja, and every money going into other issues that are not as important as JAMB, one would ask, why should students pay 5,700 naira to sit for JAMB that one politician can actually take care of? It's a very big call. I love to believe that Nigerian leaders and those in authority should, of course, take heed to some of these things and allow dividends of democracy at least reach Nigerian students. Thank you so very much, Innocent Ajuluba, for making our time.
My pleasure to be here.
And also Emeka Madunagu, we equally want to thank you for making a date with us, and we'll love to end it at this point. Please do well to visit us if you may. You can always find us at enterprisetvnews.com. You may equally like, comment, and follow us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV7. I am Henry. You could be good. Thank you for watching. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Enterprise TV, a tradition of truth.